So what we want to do today is kick it up a notch, just like, can you all hear me okay? I'm not sure that's on. No, it's not on. I'm okay back? You guys got me? All right. So Ali said that. He said, I am the greatest. And whether you believe it or not, he believed it. And that really makes a big difference sometimes, what you believe. How good do you believe you truly are? Are you fired up this morning? Are you ready to go? Are you feeling like I'm coming in here and I'm going to meet some people, I'm going to learn some stuff, I'm going to be able to set the world on fire, and I'm going to be able to kick it up a notch? And that's what we want you to do. We want you to leave here being able to do that. So there he is. That's an old picture, but I want you to feel that you're the greatest, because I know everyone in here is very good at what they do. So let's spread that word, because you're going to learn over these couple of days that marketing is the key, and that you could be the greatest, but if nobody knows it, it's not going to make you a nickel. I'd like to start with this formula, E plus R equals O. Anybody see that before? Okay, so we start with an event. You have no control over the things that happen in your life. None. You have no control over the things, right? You're walking down the street, there's an accident. You don't have any control over that. Some customer decides they're going to leave. Some customer decides they're going to stay. You don't have control over the event. However, you have total control over your response. How you deal with the events in your life is totally in your pocket. And that, then, in essence, you have control over the outcome. Now let's take a situation where you just bought that brand new car, you know, that beautiful red sports car that maybe you've been waiting years for, and you just picked that sucker up and you're driving it home and you're on top of the world, and somebody crashes into you, into your brand new car. How's that make you feel? Angry? So you might get out of that car and you might run over there and you might just grab hold of that person in that other car and you might pull them out and you might start doing stuff you shouldn't be doing, and the cops might arrest you. Why? Because you didn't control your response. Thus, the outcome wasn't what you wanted. Now think about that more in a business context, that a lot of times stuff happens to you in business, and all of a sudden, your response throws the customer away forever. Even if your customer leaves. You okay? We're getting feedback?
I'm turning that off just to...
Okay, yeah. Oh, there's still noise. Is that better?
Yep, went away. It's much better.
I never can use the mic. Can you hear me in the back?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll leave the mic alone. So what I want you to get hold of is this thing in the middle, the response. You need to start thinking about, what is my response when stuff happens? Because you're never going to control the things that happen to you. This is the big thing. You got a smile? Everybody in here got a smile on this morning? I know it's not that early yet. Come on, it's the middle of the day for some of us that start at 5. Smile is one of your most important tools that you can have in your toolbox, and most people don't use it. I got in trouble with mine years ago. I'm a Marine, and I remember being in boot camp, and I always had this smile. It's my tool. And I'd be standing there, you know, and it's true about those little drill sergeants, and they'd be all in your face and everything, and I just couldn't, it was just funny. So I got in trouble. But today, most of you will understand that the smile is one of your greatest tools. And I see you all smile. When I smile up here and I look at you, you're smiling. Why? because you're comfortable, and you can make people comfortable doing that. All right, some of you may be at the roads that we're showing you up here. The roads of confusion. Where am I going? What's next? How do I move forward from here? That's why you should be here, and that's why we're glad you're here, because we're going to try to put you on the right path. But first we got to talk about 5 things that get in the way. And these 5 things will stop you time after time again. One of the big things that stops people from building their business where they really want to or where they really could is they're comfortable. You don't know how many business owners I've talked to who just are comfortable where they're at, and they're never going to move any further in the future. So I need to move you out of that comfort zone. If you're comfortable, I'm going to leave you there, but I don't think anybody came here today who's comfortable. Otherwise, why would you be here? The other thing, you may get soft. You may not take those risks. You may not take those chances the way you should. Next thing, you might be weak. How many of you are working on your health all the time? Okay. A few, but not enough. Your health is strategically important to your success. When you do weights, anybody in here do weights? Really? Now, when you do 10 reps, which rep is the most important?
10 first.
How about 11, 12, 13, right? Came from the old guy, Arnie Schwarzenegger said it. That's how he got to be built, and if you know that guy, he's built, right? He said, those are the difference. When you go beyond the norm, anybody does 10 reps. When you do 11, 12, and 13, that's what makes the difference. When you push yourself beyond the norm, that's when you start really getting strong. We're afraid, okay? Don't know how many business owners out there are afraid. They're afraid to take that chance. They're hesitant in making those decisions when they know that it could potentially drive them in a whole new direction. And the biggest stumbling block is conformity. It's always been done this way. Since 2008, I've been working with a lot of business owners who got into trouble financially, and I keep telling them, you got to find a new way to build, to collect, to get your money, because if you don't get your money, you're out of business. Well, it's always been done this way. I don't care how it's always been done. Get innovative. Come up with other ways to deal with stuff and stop conforming. So we're going to dump those 5 things this weekend, or this 2 days, and I'm going to put this verse up here because there's 4 words here that I want you to really take a moment and understand. I don't want you to conform. If you're really thinking about conforming, you shouldn't be here, because we're going to transform you into a whole new realm of process so you can move your business, your life, and your career forward. I got some. Who is the most, thinks they're the most energetic, driven person in here? I'm not giving this to you. But you see that? That's the guy, that's my man Eli in the back doing the photography. This is the book we're going to work with a little bit. It's called Failure Creates Success. It's a book I wrote. And here you go, Eli. You get the prize. No, take it. Give it away. We're going to give some books away and that kind of stuff. But Failure Creates Success is different than what most people talk about today, because what you learn is that failure is a bad thing. And what I want you to get hold of is that failure is not a bad thing. It is actually the key that can help you succeed. But there's 3 things you need. You need a vision. You need to know where it is you're going, how you're going to get there, and which is a plan, which we're going to talk about is a written plan. And then you need to do it. And you need to make sure that nothing stands in your way from doing it. So let's talk a minute about vision. Here's that sign. And this is a sign most of us are brought up on. That failure's that way, success is this way. Which road are you on? You know, if you go down the wrong road, you're going to be a failure. Now, what I'm trying to tell you today is the sign is wrong. The sign is wrong. Those arrows should both be pointing down the same way, because down this road is success and failure. And on your way to success, you got to run through stuff, over stuff, around. And that's what will get you there. That's what will create the success. So never be afraid of failure. I think I've learned more in the companies that didn't work than the ones that did. I used to be a software developer, and one of the things I learned early in my career was that people who built junk code, I learned more from the people who built the junk than from the people who did it right. Because you can see what happens. You can take a look at the things that don't work. Okay, everybody knows this company. How many people did it start with? Yeah, or two, one. Yeah, just like you. So if you think I'm just a little company, I'm just here. This is one of the richest companies in the world, started right here, just like you are. So never let that stand in your way. But the thing is, Gates had a vision. What was the vision? Come on. What was Gates' vision? Somebody knows that.
His software on every computer, on every desk.
Okay. Before that, computer. Just the fact that he wanted to put a computer
On every desk.
on every desk. Right? Did he accomplish it? Sure did. Yeah. But that vision drove that company for years. And I remember years ago, people said, that's never going to happen. So when you see people giving you the negative, you just got to bust through it. Apple, same thing. Started with a couple of guys, right? So when you think, I'm just a little company, forget it. If you have that vision and that drive, you can take yourself and your company to the same kind of levels that these guys did. Remember, and if you haven't read Jobs' book, you should really read it. It's probably one of the best business books written in the last 25 years. The guy was kind of strange, but man, he had some great principles in that book that can really help drive you. So what was Apple's vision?
Beat Microsoft.
That's true. They wanted to put an Apple computer in every house, but that never happened. Or did it? Or is it happening today? How many people have an iPhone? Yeah. So it's happening a little different. But the vision's there, and of course we look at Google. Google is always one of our premier players. Yeah, that's me in the middle there. I'm going to switch to this side of the room for a minute. That's me in the middle there with my mom and dad many years ago. And that's where the visions come from, because my mom and dad had a vision. They came over, they didn't have nothing. They came over after the war, they had nothing but a vision and a dream that maybe there'd be a job there and they'd make some money and they'd be okay. And you see it today. Why are people driven more who are coming in than those of us who are here? Sometimes wanting something, you got to go after it. So that's me. A couple years later now. I put that picture up there because at 2, my father died, and now my mom was left with a strange country and a little baby. So what happened? She could have just went back where she came from and said, I'm done, I'm getting out of here, I'm going back home. Just like many people in business. You get there and you're like, I'm done. This didn't work. This is too hard. I'm not sure I want to go all that way. Don't give up. Keep going. You take what you've learned and keep building upon it. What's your vision? Think about it. Let it drive you. What's your vision? You want to be on the beach? That's my vision. Okay, that just happens to be my beach there, okay? That may not necessarily be your beach. Or, does anybody know where that picture's from? Peter?
Pacific somewhere.
Yeah, Thailand. This one's actually, so again, what is it that you want? You need something. You know that old saying about putting those pictures on your refrigerator? It is true. What is driving you day in and day out? Okay, let's see, maybe it doesn't work from that side. There we go. And how's your attitude? I know everyone in here has a great attitude today, otherwise you wouldn't be here. But attitude will drive your business. How you think, feel, and drive forward. What you put into it will make all the difference in the world. If you think you can get up in the morning and not be pumped up and fired up and create a successful business, you are wrong. You need that attitude in order to make it happen. You got to believe it. Here's my saying. Just remember this. Only the unsuccessful will tell you you can't. Successful people will never tell you you can't do something. And all of you need to remember, you got to start hanging out with successful people. You got to spend your time with people, not people who are where you are. Now let's leave family aside for a minute, because family is family. But if you look at the 5 people that you hang out with the most, take a look at them. They probably make within $3,000 a year of what you do, drive a similar car, live in a similar house, take similar vacations, and that's okay. But if you want to drive yourself to the million, to the $10 million business, Prim, you got to get around people who are tremendously successful, because that's what influences you. You don't get influenced by people who are content. So the journey starts with vision. That's step 1. But that's only enough to get started with. Then you got to have a plan. I got to have a plan, but more than that, it's got to be written. I work with business owners all the time, and the first thing I ask them is, where's your plan? And they always tell me, I got it, it's right here. I said, that's wonderful, but it's not anywhere if you don't put it on paper. So if you have a plan, is it written down? I'm not talking about some big, thick books. One thing you learn in all my processes, I work simple and easy. We do, most business plans are 2 pages long. That's it. Because that's all we can really digest. You can't digest a 50-page document. You might have to do it for the bank, but you don't have to do it for your real business. I'm a big soccer guy. I coached soccer for 20 years. I love soccer. And soccer is the one sport that has goals in it, doesn't it? It's the only sport, is it? Is there any other sport that has goals in it?
Hockey.
Yeah, hockey. You got it. We could put hockey up there as well. Point is, what are your goals? That's why you need a written plan. What are your goals? So, first thing I would like you to do today is I would like you to take out a piece of paper, and I would like you to write down simply 10 things that you think that you would like to accomplish in the next 12 months. They can be simple. You can actually accomplish them all in the next week or 2. I just want 10 things on a piece of paper right now. And I'll tell you why after you do this. I'll give you a couple minutes. This is actually a great exercise from one of my mentors, Brian Tracy, who used to do this all the time at his seminars. I saw it first time maybe 20 years ago. But just 10 things that you want to accomplish. Put them down. And I'll try to be quiet.
We can only have one.
No. Then you're done, right? Break it down a little bit. Break it down into pieces. What can you do quickly? It makes you think a little bit. And what I want you to do over these 2 days is I want you to think. Because I'm going to try to awaken what's in here, because I can't build your business the way you can. I can't do those things for you. You all have it inside. It's just a matter of driving it out. That's what I do. I pull it out, and that will make you so much more successful. This little exercise, as strange as it seems, has a great benefit. Because here's what's going to happen. And if you don't finish now, you can finish during the break or later. But please finish. Put 10 things down on a list. Because here's what's going to happen. If you take this list and you put it in the notebook we're going to give you in a few minutes, and you never look at it for the next 12 months, and on October 22nd, 2016, you open that notebook up and look at it, I can almost guarantee you that 7 of the things on that list you will have accomplished just by the mere fact of writing it down. Okay, let's keep going. Finish the list before the day's out. Goals are something that really you need to think about in this realm. It's not, what is it that, when I talk vision, we're talking about what is it I want to accomplish someday? That's where we start, and then we back up. In order to get there, what do I have to do in 5 years, 3 years, 1 year, all the way down to what is it I need to do today? Well, you're doing it. You're here, and that's a start of moving you down that path. You got to have measurements. If you don't measure, you're never going to get there. And measurements scare people. People don't want to be measured. Well, those of us who have been in sales for a long time really don't have a problem with it, because that's how we've been rated for years. But even salespeople, it's not just about dollars. It's also about other stuff, like prospects, suspects. How many people have you seen? What are you doing? There is a lot of other goals that you need to track and measure, and we're going to talk about them over the next 2 days. Break everything down into its easiest and simplest component. If I need to sell 1,200 clients or 1,200 deals a year, what is that a month? What is that a week? And what is it a day? Because I can't get my hands around 1,200, but I can sure get my hands around 5. And I can go out today and I can do 5. And after a month, if I'm supposed to have 100 deals and I only have 17, then I know I'm doing something wrong. And I know I need to fix it. Lessons learned, another key element. How many of you are taking the stuff that you've gone through and really examine it after it's done, whether it worked or whether it didn't, to understand what did I do right and what didn't I do right? I learned it, I worked for Boeing years ago, and one of the things we had to do on every project was we had to do a formal document that said, this is what I learned. And then we had to document it and file it away, and I thought this was crazy. But it wasn't, because later, if you thought about something, you say, I think we did that before. I think we messed up when we tried that before. But if you don't document it, and if you don't take time to listen and learn, guess what? It just flies by and you make the same mistake again. Remember when I said failure creates success? That means that when you fail, you learn and you move on. Doesn't mean you keep making the same mistake. Okay, this is where many people are on the path to success. Which way do I go? Which way do I go? That's why you need goals. This is why you need a plan, because I need to know which one of those I go down, and I don't need to think about it too long. So on the journey, we got to know where we're going, we got to know how we're going to get there, the plan, and then the final piece is we got to take some action. And this is one of the things that really, a lot of people are good at putting the vision together. A lot of people are good at putting the plan together, but when it comes time to execute, is when we fail. Like my little mouse here? Never gives up, okay? Persistence. When things don't go as you hope, you don't give up, you keep right on going. You need that drive. There's my man. How many know who that is? Of course, it's Michael Jordan. My opinion, probably the greatest guy ever to play the game of basketball. And it's debatable, I guess. But point is, Jordan was a great star. And one of the things that Jordan always said was he learned from his coach. Right? Because one of the things coaching does for you that you can't do for yourself, even in basketball, when you're taking a shot and your hand is not in exactly the position. Coach standing over there could say, twist a quarter of an inch, and swish, the ball goes in. You see, when somebody else works with you, they can see stuff you can't. You can't do it yourself. It's just not possible. What happened to Tiger Woods when he fired his coach? I'm not sure his game has ever recovered. Forget the scandals, but you need some help. You need consistency. We can all go out and hit the home run once in a while, but if we hit the singles every day of the week, we make a tremendous difference. And we need discipline. And I always like to play with discipline. It's kind of the bridge that will take you over the river and onto success. Now, if there's anybody in here who's really not after success, you're probably in the wrong place. Okay, a few more things. Practice is one of them. Anybody have somebody at home there who's trying to learn how to play an instrument? How's that going for you, Todd? But we still have to encourage, don't we? We still have to practice. Whenever I go into a new company and I'm working with the sales team, I always ask the salespeople, well, how much do you guys and gals practice? And the answer from most veterans is, practice? I've been doing this for 20 years. What do I need to practice for? Well, let's go back to athletics a minute. Look at these guys. Does anybody know how much actual play time is in an NFL football game?
60 minutes. 60 minutes.
25.
No, actual play time. Actual time the teams are moving.
12 minutes maybe?
Yeah, about 12 minutes. Yeah, how much do they practice? We think we know what we're doing, and we don't spend time in practicing, which means that's one of the keys that's going to keep us from really being a star. If you're going out to do a sales call, I don't care if you've done it 20 times. Practice it and get it down so it's perfect. One of the things I teach people is there should never be a question in a sales presentation that you haven't already anticipated and don't already know the answer to. We walk in there and we say, oh, I'll get back to you. If somebody comes into a sales to present to me, and they say, when I ask them a question, they say, I'll get back to you. Unless it's really something that just nobody could answer, that's never the right answer. They've got to be able to answer the question. Why is it and I don't know if you know this, but most people who've been golfing, what do you think their average score is? Exactly. Even people say, I'm afraid to go golf. Actually, I know a lot of ladies are now taking the game up, and we always hear, there's some fear, and I'm like, there's no fear. Most people that have been playing golf, 80% shoot 100. And you can pretty much shoot 100 without doing a whole lot. Why? Because the game is made right there on the practice, on hitting the ball, on getting someone to look at how you hit the ball. But people don't spend time here. Just like you may not spend time on your sales process. You think you can do it, you think you're okay, you think you can go out and do it, but you don't practice. So I encourage everybody to practice, practice, and practice. And then the final key, of course, is listening. How well do you listen? Most people don't listen that well. Because they're not focused on the conversation. So when you're with a customer or you're with a prospect, the only thing that's important is to focus on what they're saying. Big mistake people make is we're having a conversation and all of a sudden you say something that I know I got to answer. And all of a sudden I lose my total listening because all I'm doing now is waiting for a break and I'm focused on the answer I'm going to give you. Forget it. Listen. That's why you should always have a pad anyway. Write down what you're going to say and then open your mind back up. Because you can't do two things at once. And it is, however, a known fact that the brain listens, has the capability of listening about 4 times as fast as most people speak. So you would get in trouble. Okay, so that's the journey that we're going to go on. The journey from vision through plan through action. Don't wish, don't hope, don't think too much. What I want you to do is to know that you are the best, that you are very good, that you can do whatever you set your mind to, that you can accomplish the goals we're going to set, and that you can create the same success as many of these other companies have done. Because remember what I said, it is about attitude. Everything you build, you got to build mentally. Until you build it mentally, you're never going to build it physically. If you don't see, there's a thing called stinking thinking. And that really says that whatever's in your mind is what happens. You know how when you start thinking something bad's going to happen? It happens. When you start thinking that something's good's going to happen, it happens. So you need to move your mind to that stage. If you do these things, and we're going to go through a lot of this in these 2 days, got some great people coming in to help you. I'm going to be doing some of the sessions, but the point is, we're going to help you try to put a plan together, and when you're done, you're going to execute it and become successful. Thank you.